Last year, Jim Farley shocked the automotive industry by announcing Ford was going to transition its electric vehicles from the current charging standards of CCS1 and J1772 to the Tesla connector, or the North American Charging Standard. Now, shortly after that, the rest of the industry followed. They really had to, because it's a better solution and Ford would have a huge competitive advantage if the other companies didn't join. Okay, so they all agreed we're going to switch over and coalesce around this one single connector, which was going to be good for the industry. But it takes a few years for companies to make this kind of change. So most of the companies announced that starting in 2025, they were going to begin to transition their electric vehicles to have native NACS inlets. However, customers don't want to wait until 2025 or 2026 to be able to have access to Tesla Superchargers, which also came with this deal. And in order to do so, adapters would have to be made. Now, if you follow this channel, you've seen I've already reviewed the three most popular NACS to CCS1 adapters that are on the market today: the Tesla adapter, the A2Z adapter, and the Lectron adapter. And in those reviews, I promised to do a follow-up comparison video comparing the three. That's what we're going to do here today. We're going to take a close look at all three adapters and maybe help you decide which NACS to CCS1 adapter you're going to use. Okay, so I said that the entire industry here in North America is going to be transitioning to the NACS connector, and it's going to begin to be installed natively on the vehicles in a year or two. So in the interim, we need to use adapters if the vehicles want to be able to access Tesla Superchargers, and everybody wants to have access to Tesla Superchargers. But it's not a matter of just getting an adapter and you can just plug your vehicle in. The companies individually have to work out the back-end software communication with Tesla. And so far, Ford was the first company to have that done. Rivian followed. So currently, Ford and Rivian vehicles have access to the Tesla Supercharger network as long as they have the adapter. But they're the only two companies currently that can access Tesla Superchargers. That's going to change. General Motors, from what I understand, is next, and it should happen within a month or so. I believe it probably was delayed by the fact that Tesla had these massive layoffs recently, and the entire or most of the Supercharger team, 500 people or so, were laid off at Tesla, and that left a big void. Some of these OEMs that were working with Tesla on getting all the software done so they can have access were left without counterparts to talk to. And I know that as a fact because some of the companies called me and we spoke about this, so I'm not speculating here. But in any event, it seems as though GM's back on track, I believe, and will have it done within the month or so. So I'm thinking sometime in June or July of this year, GM vehicles should have access, and then with an adapter, they can use it. I don't know what the timeline is going to be for the other companies. Certainly, the layoffs at Tesla has delayed this for most of the other OEMs. So it's really good on Ford and Rivian for getting this done before this happened. Not that they knew it was happening, but they really lucked out getting everything done and finalized before Tesla had this big cutback in layoffs. Okay, so Ford and Rivian are the only two companies that currently have access to the Supercharger network with an adapter. And both of those companies, along with Tesla, put out statements saying that they only want their customers to use the authorized adapter, or an adapter that is sold through an OEM. Currently, only the Tesla adapter, and this is the adapter that's made by Tesla. These two are the Tesla adapter, these three are the A to Z adapters, and these three here are the Lectron adapters. So Tesla and the only two companies that have access to the network right now are saying, this is the only adapter we want you to use. If you use anything else, you're liable if there's a problem, if your car has some sort of an issue, if the charging station has some sort of an issue, if somebody gets hurt. We don't want any part of it. And I understand why they did that, because there are a lot of really low quality adapters on the market today. Not necessarily the NACS to CCS1, but there's all different charging adapters out there, and many of them are made very poorly and they're unsafe. So I think it was just a fallback for the industry to say, you know what, Tesla made this one, we know it's safe, this is the only one we want you to use. Now, there's currently no certification for adapters, electric vehicle charging adapters, UL certification or ETL. And that's really what most people use for electronics to decide if it's safe or not. Is it safety certified? We talk about that a lot with electric vehicle chargers. If they're not safety certified, I never recommend them. But with the adapters, none of them are safety certified, not even the Tesla one. So it's hard to say which one's better than the other one. However, UL is coming out with a new certification, UL 2252 it's called, and that's specifically made for electric vehicle charging adapters. And I happen to know that both the A2Z and Lectron have been submitted to UL for approval. And I know at least A2Z for certain had told me they're hopeful to get that pretty soon, and they're confident that it's going to be passed because they designed it to meet UL standards. And I have a feeling at least that once there are safety certified adapters, let's say the Lectron and the A2Z both get UL certified, I have a feeling that the OEMs are going to lighten up a little bit on their statement saying only use the one that you got through your OEM or the Tesla one, because once they're safety certified, once there's a UL stamp on it, I think it's pretty apparent that the unit is safe. So we're thinking that once this UL 2252 is finally formalized and the adapters get UL certification, we believe that most of the automakers are going to say, look, you have to use a safety certified adapter. We'll see what happens once that happens, but I think we're only a couple months away from getting the first batch of UL certified adapters certified. So we'll see what happens when that happens. But for now, I just wanted to be clear. Ford, Rivian, and Tesla are telling you this is the only adapter we want you to use. So then why doesn't everybody just buy this adapter and not worry about, whether it's safe or not? Well, it's because Tesla cannot make these fast enough. And companies like Ford and Rivian are actually giving them to all of their customers for free. GM, which I mentioned earlier, is probably going to have be the next company to have access. They're charging $25. I think $25 or $26. So I think basically the dealership is charging you for shipping to ship the adapter to you, but they're basically giving you the adapter for free. So think about the volume of adapters that are needed, and that's not even counting if Tesla wants to put this on their website to sell, like they sell other charging adapters. And the fact that they can't put them out fast enough, customers, Rivian customers, Ford customers that already have access, the companies are telling them it's going to be many months before we can ship you out an adapter. People don't want to wait. So they're looking on the internet for third-party adapters, and they're saying, I know the companies are telling us we shouldn't be using these, but I want access. I need it for a road trip, and it's going to make my life so much easier to have Supercharger access. And that's why I decided to review these, and specifically chose A2Z and Lectron because I have a history with these companies. They make high quality equipment and charging adapters that I've used in the past, and that's the reason why I chose it. There's other companies out there, but honestly, I'm not even going to waste my time with them because I've seen some of the other products they make, and I'm not impressed. That said, Lectron already had one recall, so, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so these are the three main adapters and the three that I reviewed. Let's take a look at the key features of all three of them compared side by side. Okay, first up is the cost. We don't know what Tesla is going to charge for this because it's not available yet. But on their website, they sell the opposite of this, the CCS1 to NACS. These are NACS to CCS1, and they sell that adapter for $250. So it gives us a good idea of where Tesla might be when this actually ends up on their online store. A2Z charges $197 for this, and currently I have a coupon code that can get you 10% off if you're interested in buying the A2Z. The Lectron Vortex, basically the same price as the A2Z, it's $199. Next up, the voltage and amperage. All three adapters are rated for 1000 volt, 500 amps. The peak amperage on the Tesla adapter is unknown. I don't know it. Unfortunately, My contacts at Tesla in the charging division were getting me these answers because I asked them a bunch of questions about this adapter. I actually emailed them 3 days before the layoffs, and 3 of the 4 guys I know got laid off. I still have one connection there, but he's kind of overwhelmed with work, and he did say he was going to get back to me, but I haven't heard yet. I know the A2Z Typhoon, and I've seen all of their engineering reports and charts. It has a peak amperage of 689 amps. The Lectron Vortex, very close, 680 amps as the peak amperage. The IP rating, all 3 adapters have an IP67 rating. I want to point out one thing though. When I did the A to Z adapter review, I said it has an IP54 rating, and I was mistaken. And that was because there's 2 different IP ratings. There's a rating for the outer shell, the outer casing, and then there's also a rating for the connections, where the connectors actually go into the adapter. In that, the A to Z has an IP54 rating, but what I'm talking here is the outer casing, and they're all the same, IP67. Dimension-wise, the Tesla is 5 inches by 3.93 inches by 2.5 inches. The A to Z Typhoon adapter is really close to the Tesla adapter. They're almost exactly the same size. If you put them next to each other, you almost can't tell the difference. That's 5 inches by 4.25 inches by 2.75 inches. And the Lectron Vortex adapter is bigger. It's the biggest and heaviest adapter of all 3. It's 7 inches long by 4.2 inches by 2.7 inches. Okay, weight-wise, the Tesla and the A to Z adapters weigh almost the same. The Tesla is 1 pound, 11.3 ounces. The Typhoon is 1 pound, 11.4 ounces. And the Lectron Vortex adapter is 2 pounds, 2.1 ounces. So it's significantly bigger and heavier. Okay, the operating temperatures for all 3 are the same, 122 degrees to negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit. And this is the ambient operating temperature, not the temperature of the unit itself. Okay, the number of internal temperature sensors. Both the Tesla adapter and the A to Z Typhoon adapter have 2 internal temperature sensors. The Lectron Vortex actually has 1 more, it has 3. Okay, for the locking mechanisms. The NACS end lock is automatic on the Tesla. It's manual on the A to Z. You actually have to slide a little lock to lock it, and the adapter won't work unless you do slide that. And the Lectron Vortex is automatic. The CCS1 side, all 3 adapters are automatic locks. As soon as you push them into the car, the tab automatically locks. Okay, next up is temperature change. And this is my own testing. I charged my EVs from 10% to 80%, and I measured the external temperature, the surface temperatures of the adapters. Now, the only thing here is the ambient temperature was different in all 3, so this isn't the perfect comparison, but I just wanted to see how well they heated up. In the future, I think I'm going to try to do them all in the exact same or very similar ambient temperatures. Okay, the Tesla OEM adapter started off at 52.5 degrees Fahrenheit, and it ended at 78 degrees Fahrenheit. The A to Z Typhoon started off at 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and it finished at 105 degrees Fahrenheit. And the Lectron Vortex adapter, the surface temperature was 76 degrees when I started, and it finished off at 91 degrees. Okay, AC capable. Can any of these adapters also work on AC chargers? Let's say like you roll up to a Tesla destination charger, which is AC. It has the same connector. Will they work? No, none of them will work. And you actually don't want them to work. I know people say, oh, I would love to have one adapter for everything, but there's safety reasons why that's not good. And it could potentially lead to somebody getting shocked. It's just not a good idea to engineer the adapter to work on both. Warranty-wise, the Tesla adapter has a 1-year warranty. Now, I haven't 100% confirmed this, but if you go on Tesla's website, it says that their chargers, their charging equipment has 4-year warranties, but their adapters that they sell have 1-year warranties. So I'm assuming that when this ends up in the store, it's going to have a 1-year warranty, as all of their other charging adapters do. The A to Z Typhoon adapter has a 1-year warranty, and the Lectron Vortex has a 2-year warranty. Okay, country of manufacturer. The Tesla OEM adapter is made in the US. The A to Z adapter is made in China, and the Lectron Vortex adapter is also made in China. State of Charge is powered by Qmerit. After I've helped you decide which electric vehicle charging equipment you're going to buy, follow the link in the description of my videos and let the EV charging installation professionals at Qmerit install it. Okay, so before I talk about each individual adapter, I want to circle back to the whole safety thing. I know a lot of people are concerned about using non-approved adapters. So I did reach out to the CEOs of all three companies, A2Z, Lectron, and Tesla. You might be surprised to hear that Elon didn't respond, so I don't have any comment from him on this, and can't imagine why, right? Does the guy know who I am? But in any event, both A2Z and Lectron did respond and give us their position on this. So let's take a look at what the CEOs had to say. First up, we'll look at what Amin Zator, the CEO of A2Z Adapters, told me. We fully understand and respect the position taken by various OEMs regarding the utilization of third-party adapters, given the availability of dangerous adapters in the market that compromise safety. It's unfortunate but true that many adapter manufacturers compromise on quality, using inferior materials and conductors, and neglecting essential safety features such as temperature sensor switches. There have been numerous instances where inexpensive adapters found on platforms like Amazon have been discovered lacking in temperature sensors or with low voltage wires inappropriately exposed near high voltage DC bus bars. Our NACS to CCS1 adapter, however, stands as a demonstration to safety and reliability. We based our different tests in accordance with standards such as SAE J1772-2012, UL 2251, IEC 62196-3, and the North American Charging Standard TS 00236666. During its development, we diligently adhered to the guidelines of the UL 2252 outline, ensuring our adherence to its preliminary requirements in anticipation of its official release. Once UL 2252 is formally introduced, we are committed to certifying our products accordingly. We applied and became a member of the SAE committee, which oversees standards such as J3400 to guarantee our compliance with the safety and industry standards set by dedicated individuals and organizations. We want to assure our customers of our ongoing commitment to collaborate closely with OEMs to demonstrate the safety and reliability of our products. Our aim is to ensure the security of their customers and installations. While we would prefer prompt resolutions, the reality is that these processes are time-consuming, involving numerous stakeholders. Nonetheless, we are dedicated to this cause, and we will continue to strive for the quickest and most efficient outcomes possible. And then I have Lectron's statement on non-approved adapters. At Lectron, we prioritize safety and functionality and have gone above and beyond to ensure our NACS to CCS1 adapter meets standards required by both Tesla and major automakers. Our commitment to safe and reliable charging experience is evident from our proven track record in facilitating access to Tesla's charging infrastructure with our Tesla to J1772 adapter. In developing the Vortex plug NACS to CCS1 adapter, Lectron has collaborated with OEMs to ensure compatibility, rigorously tested with industry-leading lab UL solutions, complied with UL 2252 and SAE J3400 guidelines and standards, and Lectron's mission is clear: to provide EV drivers with safe, reliable charging solutions that eliminate compatibility barriers and meet the highest industry standards. Okay, so let's take a look at each individual adapter. First up, the Tesla adapter. The interesting thing about this is, and not that it feels poorly made, but comparing it to the other two adapters, it actually feels the least, say, robustly built, which I wouldn't have expected, coming into this. The A2Z and the Lectron both actually feel like they're made of thicker plastic and better construction than the Tesla adapter. Now, that's just how they feel. I'm not saying that it's not made strongly. And I think that's probably because there's a plastic outer casing around the adapter. And that's a little flimsy. It's not quite as thick as the outer casing on the A2Z or the Lectron. But then there's an inner casing. So it kind of has two layers of protection. So that could be a positive, but the outer casing, for instance, has gaps where you could see inside it. So it's definitely not water resistant, the outer casing. Along this leading edge here, I can look and see through it. But I'm sure the inner casing is completely, so it's almost like the A to Z adapter, which is nearly the same exact size as the Tesla adapter. It's almost as if they took one of these and then put an additional plastic casing around it. So that outer casing isn't quite as sturdy as what you get the outer casing on the other two. That's just one observation. I'm also, as I mentioned, not in love with the release switch for the NACS side. When you have the NACS connector in it, it's easier to just grab, like, let's say the Lectron. I like that switch the best, actually. You just grab it and squeeze it and you pull the connector out. But the Tesla adapter, you've got to kind of reach in here and push it down and then pop the adapter out. And it's kind of like an awkward position, for me at least. It's like you have to pull it in and push it like this. It'd be much easier if you just grabbed it and squeezed it. I don't like the ergonomics of it, but that's nitpicking, but that's what we do here. Another thing you have to be concerned about with this adapter is availability. You can't really buy it right now. They're only being shipped to Ford and Rivian owners that get it for free. Tesla's entire production is just going to satisfy Ford and Rivian. And now, within a few weeks, Chevrolet is going to have their vehicles open to the Tesla Supercharger network. That's at least what we expect it to be within a few weeks. That's kind of what we've been hearing. And they're going to be shipping these out to their customers for a small fee. It's like $25, $26. So now Tesla's going to have to provide them to Chevrolet. So these things aren't even listed on the Tesla website. So you can't buy it. So it's not available, and that's a problem. We also really don't know what the final price is going to be. I'm guessing it's going to be in the $250 range because that's what Tesla's CCS1 to NACS adapter sells for, and it's basically the same thing except the opposite. So you're figuring somewhere around $250, which is a little bit more than what A to Z and Lectron is selling their adapters for. But you would expect that from Tesla. It's got the name, and it is, again, the one adapter that's approved for use, so they can get a little bit of a premium for it. And it wouldn't be a problem if it was available, but it is not available. You can't buy one, and there's no real clear runway for when it's going to be available. So if you don't want to wait for your OEM to ship you one, you've got to get a second, third-party adapter. And next, we'll take a look at the A to Z. So the A to Z, I'm a big fan of this adapter. It feels extremely well made. I mean, it feels in my hand heavier than the Tesla adapter, but it really isn't. They're about the same weight. Maybe because it doesn't have that thinner outer plastic casing, but this thing feels like it's really well made. The CCS1 switch is really strong. It's got a nice spring in it. The NACS switch is the one thing that I don't like because, as I mentioned, you've got to lock this manually. And when you put the NACS connector in, you have to pull the switch towards you to lock it to the adapter. If you don't do that, power won't flow through. A couple of times I've actually connected it and forgot to lock it, and then it's not charging. I'm thinking, oh wow, is there a problem with the adapter? And I know this stuff and I forgot, so I'm sure it's going to get other people. This switch should be automatic as it is on the other two adapters when you simply by putting it into the adapter, it locks. Same thing with the Lectron adapter. See, I'm fumbling to get the Tesla one out. Really don't like that disconnect. I wish that A to Z had a switch here that you grabbed and squeezed like the Lectron to release the NACS connector. I think that's a much better design than what they have, but it works. I haven't really had any of my followers report that they're having trouble with it. It's just the manual step. It should be automatic, in my opinion. Other observations I have about the A2Z, if you notice when I discussed the surface temperature during my 10% to 80% charging sessions, the A2Z adapter had the highest gain in temperature. It was 40 degrees warmer when I finished the charging session than when it started. The Tesla adapter gained 25 degrees and the Lectron adapter gained only 15 degrees. But I did talk to Amin Zator, A2Z's CEO, about this, and he explained that the adapter is specifically designed that way. It has insulation that's designed to draw the heat from out the inside of the adapter out. And that makes sense. You don't want to trap that heat inside. But again, I'm not an engineer and I don't know if it's a better design than what the other two adapters do. It certainly does get the surface temperature warmer than the other two adapters. And I've been using this quite a bit now, and I've used it recently when it was in warmer temperatures, close to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and the surface temperature got up to about 109 degrees, a little bit warmer than it did when I did my 10 to 80% charge recording, but still nowhere near the surface temperature limits by UL 2252. I actually have a copy of the UL 2252's specifications, and they call for, and this is a non-metallic adapter, it's plastic, so the exterior surface temperature is supposed to always remain under 140 degrees. So I was, through all my testing, at least 38 degrees cooler than what UL 2252 surface temperature is. And again, I spoke with the CEO of the company, and he said even if this adapter is being used in extraordinarily warm climate, over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, it's still not going to approach the 140 degree limit that UL 2252 set for surface temperatures for adapters. So that shouldn't be a problem at all. And whether or not the fact that it's designed to allow the heat to release, I can't speak to that. Seems like it makes sense. You don't want the heat trapped inside the adapter, and you don't want connections and everything to overheat. So you would want it to escape and get out. So seems like it makes sense to me. But again, I'm not an engineer on that. I'm not a tear down specialist, but the adapter worked fine for me. I've used it a ton of times. I even loaned it out to a couple of friends so they could use it on road trips, and they actually really liked it and said that they would absolutely buy one. They don't feel like it's unsafe or anything like that, which I certainly don't. I wouldn't be here talking about these if I thought they were unsafe. Okay, so now let's talk about the Lectron adapter, and we have to get the recall out of the way up front. So the recall on this adapter was because some of the adapters that were made, see the NACS connector is locked to the adapter now. And what happens is you're not supposed to be able to remove this unless you press the switch below, which is the unlock switch, and now you can pull it out. However, some of these adapters, including this one here, were made not to Lectron's specifications. Their contract manufacturer actually made the interior pin that's supposed to hold this to the connector just a smidge too short, so you could do this. That's not supposed to happen. Now, under normal usage, that should not create a problem. But if somebody, let's say, tripped over the connector, you could have a situation where the adapter gets disconnected from the connector really quickly and power is still flowing through it. And you're going to get arcing, you're going to have problems. That's not a good thing to happen. So Lectron recalled these units. They went back to their contract manufacturer and they redesigned the locking pin inside it. Well, they didn't redesign it. That's a wrong term. They actually made sure that the contract manufacturer was making it to the specifications that it was supposed to be. Evidently, they were making it just a hair too short. I don't even know if it might have been like 0.5 millimeter, but it was enough so that there wasn't enough of the pin holding the connector so you could pull it out. So now they're making sure that it's to the right length, and they also put a stronger spring here. This the switch below where the unlocking switch, it's much stiffer than the first two that I have. So I think it really holds that pin up in place and it can't be pulled out. And now, put it in. See it? I could feel it hitting the pin and locking. That's not coming out for anything. But when I grab this, the switch down here and pull it loose, it comes loose. However, that's my adapter. Unfortunately, I'm getting some feedback from some of my followers that the replacement adapter that Lectron sent them has the opposite problem that the first one did. The first adapter, the ones that were recalled, if you notice, you could pull it out without releasing the tab. Some of the newer ones that are shipping now have the opposite problem. You can't get the NACS connector out of the adapter. And I've had at least 3 or 4 of my followers tell me that they're having a huge problem with it. And a few of them were able to finally get it loose. And some of the other people that I talked to reported that it was super tight, but after using it a few times, it loosened up. But that's, in some cases, people cannot get the NACS connector removed from the adapter. And I recently even saw a post on X by one of my followers, Sky Malcolm, that went to a Tesla Supercharger and found the Supercharger connector laying on the ground with a Lectron adapter attached to it. So evidently the person that went there used it and then couldn't get it free and gave up and just left it there lying on the ground. I don't know if this is a widespread problem, but unfortunately, it seems like Lectron hasn't fully resolved this issue. It's all based around the connector and its ability to remain tethered or be released from the adapter. As far as I know, none of the innards, none of the electronics or anything pose any sort of a problem, and nobody's had any kind of an issue with it, like, melting or overheating or damaging a vehicle, or I think all of that is fine. It's just they can't get this connection solved, and it's unfortunate because otherwise it's a really good adapter. I mean, if it didn't have this problem, it might be my top recommended adapter. I'm not sure. I really like the A2Z. It's a super solid unit, but so is this. This feels really well made. It feels good in your hand. It's got really good ergonomics as far as the release on the top and the release on the bottom. It's a little big, it's a little bulky, it's a little heavy. It's bigger and heavier than the other two adapters, but it actually seems like it's really well engineered. And I talked to the people at Lectron extensively about it, and they tell me that they, like A2Z, designed this to comply with UL 2252. They were hoping as soon as UL 2252 was formalized, they would submit it, which they've told me they've already submitted it to UL for full testing, and they wanted to get this thing UL certified as soon as it could be, as A2Z is doing. So this problem that they have with the NACS side is definitely not a good look for Lectron right now. And I've used Lectron products for years. I have many Lectron adapters and a few of their chargers, and for the most part, I've been very satisfied with Lectron's equipment. They've been doing this for a long time. They have a full ecosystem of electric vehicle charging equipment, extension cables, chargers, adapters on the market. They're not some little fly-by-night company, and that's one of the reasons why I chose to review their adapter here, because I expected it to be quality, and it feels like it is quality, but they need to resolve this. Hopefully it's going to get resolved soon, because I'm sure it's frustrating some of their customers. Okay, so I'm going to cut into the video at this point because while I was recording this video, I reached out to Lectron to comment on the fact that people were posting on X and other social media forums about the fact that they were getting their replacement Lectron Vortex plug, and now instead of it pulling apart too easily, they couldn't get it apart at all. And this is the response that I got from Lectron. Okay, regarding some of the feedback on X for the Vortex plug at Tesla Superchargers. Some customers have found the Vortex plug difficult to disconnect at the NACS end. Despite this, less than 0.2% of units sold have required a replacement due to stiffness. New production units have adjusted tolerances based on customer feedback. So I assume that means that they're making it a little bit less tight. I'm not really 100% sure what tolerance was adjusted, maybe the length of the pin inside or the diameter of the inlet that the NACS goes into. Okay, variations in Tesla Supercharger tolerances, wear and tear, and different tooling contribute to the stiffness. So I guess what they're saying there is that some of the NACS connectors themselves might be slightly larger than others, and that's causing the issue. Users following the correct UL guideline order of operation shouldn't experience problems, but for those that do, we provide a free replacement immediately. Okay, I think we know that some people did have that problem, even though they were following the correct order that Lectron told them. Even when they tried to disconnect the NACS connector first, they still couldn't get the connector to remove from the Lectron adapter. As noted in numerous EV forums, other adapters, like A2Z, have experienced some tolerance issues. It just so happens that we are more in the public eye. I do appreciate the feedback from your community and you sharing this with us. Okay, so there is some information there, but it also does seem like Lectron isn't wholly owning the fact that there are issues with some of these replacement adapters. Okay, and one last thing before I cut back into the video. Lectron also offered a 15% discount to my followers for 7 days after this video post. So check out the posting date, and if you're within 7 days, you can get 15% off the Lectron Vortex adapter if you want one by using the coupon code stateofcharge. You know, hopefully they'll get that rectified soon. But for now, it's taking customers very long to get them. I've had some of my followers tell me they ordered it and it's been 2 months and they still don't have it yet. Now, even A2Z is starting to get backed up because I think they're benefiting from the fact that Lectron's having problems. People are ordering the A2Z adapter instead of the Lectron, and they got a spike in deliveries recently. And I talked to the CEO, as I mentioned, and he said that sales have been extremely robust, and they fell a little bit behind too. But I think that they're getting caught up now. They're ramping up production, and they're selling a lot of the adapters. And if I still have an active discount code for the A2Z adapter. I had one for a while for Lectron, but then that expired when they had their recall. I may get another one in the future, but for now, if you use state of charge with no spaces when you're ordering the A2Z adapter, you get 10% off. So that's another $20 off, and you know, it makes it the most affordable adapter of the bunch. And as far as I know so far, they have had no problems with these. They're all working fine, and other than the little switch on the bottom that I don't love, I can find no fault with it. I think A2Z put out a good product. I like the Lectron adapter also, except for these issues they're having. I hope that they get it resolved sometime soon. And again, I have nothing against the Tesla adapter. It's a nice adapter. I don't love the ergonomics of this switch. I probably wouldn't be my first choice to use based on that now that there's other adapters. And if, say, the Lectron and the A2Z both get UL certification, I probably would not use the Tesla adapter as my first choice. I wouldn't not use it, it's fine, but if I had a choice between the three, you know, that probably wouldn't be my first choice to use, only because I just don't love how it disconnects. But for now, you have to decide if you're gonna wait for Tesla to ramp up production enough so you can get your Tesla adapter, or if you're gonna go with a third-party adapter. I hope I gave some information here, enough so that you can make an educated choice and decide which one of these adapters you're gonna get, so that you can get that magic unlock key for the Tesla Supercharger network, which everybody wants to use. It's really liberating, you know. Since my Rivian and my Ford have access to the Tesla Supercharger network, it makes the few times I go on road trips, I don't do road trips all that often, but when I do, it's so much easier now. I don't have to worry about like searching for a charging station. I know I'm going to, between the CCS networks and now the V3 Tesla Superchargers, there's always a charger where almost wherever I need it, here in the Northeast at least. I know the charging station locations vary around the country, but where I drive basically is the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and then I go up the East Coast to Vermont frequently. There's so many charging stations, it makes it super easy. But now having this Tesla Supercharger network with my adapters, it's that much more easy. We're going to keep up with this subject. Hopefully I'll have some information soon on when Chevrolet is going to have access to the Supercharger network and information on their estimated time frame for getting their official Tesla adapter shipped out. So far, we have no information on that. And as I said, they're kind of third in the queue behind Ford and Rivian owners getting their adapters. So it's going to be a while if you're a Chevrolet EV owner and you order your NACS adapter. I think it's going to be many months before they start shipping them in any kind of numbers, and that's what's driving people into these third-party adapters. Listen, if this is your first time here at State of Charge, please don't forget, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming electric vehicle news and reviews. And as always, thanks for watching.